Friends, welcome. Today we're going to take one of the most fascinating and mysterious journeys into the question of what reality actually is. Could it be that we're not living in the world we think we are? That the laws of nature, space, time, and even the very idea of consciousness are nothing more than lines of code written by some unknown programmer? Today we'll dive into the philosophy of simulation and ask, if this is true, what does it say about us? About our essence? About our future? Could it be that we are already immortal simply because our existence is part of a program? The conversation about the world being an illusion started long before computers existed. Plato, in his famous Allegory of the Cave, described people who see only shadows on a wall and mistake them for reality. In Eastern philosophies, too, there are ideas that the world is Maya, illusion, a deceptive reflection of true being. But in the 20th century, philosophy gained a new language to talk about this: the language of technology. Once computers appeared, people began drawing parallels. What if everything around us is a program, and we ourselves are characters in a simulation? In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed the famous simulation argument. He suggested that at least one of the following must be true. Civilizations never reach the level where they can create realistic simulations of conscious beings. Even if civilizations can do it, they won't bother running such simulations. We are almost certainly living inside a simulation. The logic is simple. If even one civilization in the universe can create millions of simulations populated with conscious residents, then the odds of us being the original reality, and not just one of the simulations, are incredibly small. Have you ever wondered why the laws of nature are so precise and consistent? Why do elementary particles obey strict rules? Why does mathematics describe the universe so perfectly? Supporters of the simulation idea see this as a sign of software. For example, scientists discuss that at the smallest scales, space-time itself might be quantized. Just as a computer screen is made of pixels, space could be made of discrete units. If that's the case, then we may literally be living in a kind of matrix. Quantum mechanics. Particles behave unpredictably until they are observed. This is like how a computer game only renders graphics when the player turns the camera. The speed of light. In every game, there's a maximum speed beyond which characters can't move. Maybe the speed of light is simply our system's speed limit, the mathematical universe. Why can reality be described by equations at all? Perhaps because it is built on mathematics itself. Not all philosophers and scientists agree. First, there's no direct evidence whatsoever. Second, even if civilizations could create simulations, that doesn't mean they would actually run them. Also, saying reality is a program might just be a metaphor, not literal truth. Some even argue, even if we do live in a simulation, it doesn't change much. Reality is still what we perceive. We think, feel, love, and create. And that's more important than whether we're made of atoms or of code. But here's where it gets fascinating. If we are a program, what does that mean for immortality? Imagine a character in a video game dies. For the player, that's not the end. The character can be restarted. Similarly, if our consciousness is code, then it can be copied, saved, reloaded. In fact, in a simulation, death doesn't have to be final. If we're part of code, then immortality might already be woven into the very system itself, just in a form different from what we normally imagine. Today, scientists are already discussing ideas of digital immortality. Our data, habits, speech patterns, even our ways of thinking can be copied. Artificial intelligence is learning to imitate individual people. If the civilization running the simulation keeps backups of our minds, then theoretically we are already immortal, like files that can always be restored. Maybe that's why humanity has always intuitively believed in life after death. Religions, myths, and legends about eternal existence might reflect the deeper structure of our reality, where immortality is built into the code itself. But here another philosophical puzzle arises. If we're a program, do we really have free will? Or is every choice predetermined? Some philosophers suggest the code could be designed to include freedom. For example, a programmer sets the rules, but within those rules we decide. It's like an open-world video game. There are laws, but the player chooses how to act. So freedom and determinism can coexist. There's another intriguing idea. If we are in a simulation, why was it created? Maybe our world is a massive experiment, a lab for the growth of consciousness. Perhaps we're here to learn something important. And once we exit the simulation, an entirely new reality awaits us. In that case, immortality wouldn't just mean preserving code. It would mean moving to a higher level, like advancing to the next stage of the game. Some physicists are even trying to detect code artifacts within the universe itself. For instance, there are studies checking whether cosmic rays show distribution limits similar to glitches in computer graphics. Others search for pixels of space. These are still just hypotheses, but the fact that serious scientists even consider them shows how deeply the simulation idea has taken root. But let's flip the scenario. What if there's no simulation at all? Even then, the philosophy of simulation is valuable. It pushes us to reflect on the limits of knowledge, on the meaning of consciousness, on what it really means to be human. If the very thought that we might be code inspires us to appreciate life more, then the idea has already fulfilled its purpose. So are we immortal if we live in a simulation? The answer depends on how we define immortality. If it means a program can be restored, then yes, immortality is built into our reality. If it means each consciousness is unique and unrepeatable, then even in a simulation, we still only get one life. Either way, the idea of simulation gives us hope. Maybe endings are only transitions, and our memory, our essence, is preserved forever. The philosophy of simulation isn't just about whether the world is a program. It's about rethinking ourselves. If we're code, then we're part of something greater. If we're the original, then even more so. In either case, our experiences, feelings, and thoughts are real to us. So the real question isn't whether we're in a simulation, but how we live within it. And if this really is a game, then let's play it beautifully, with curiosity and with kindness. Friends, thank you for staying until the end. I hope these reflections gave you a new perspective on the world. Maybe we do live in a simulation, or maybe it's just a metaphor. But either way, we have a unique chance to live consciously and meaningfully. Thank you for your attention, your support, and your curiosity. Until next time.